Thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
Welcome back, everyone, to episode 375 of the Massenomics podcast, or welcome if it's your first time ever tuning in. Still a crazy thought if it's someone's first time at 375, but it could be their first time. So congrats on breaking your Massenomics cherry. My name is Tanner.
And my name is Tommy.
Do you think someone's tuning in for the first time this week, Tommy?
Statistically, someone is.
Yeah. It's always somebody's
and if you're
first.
that someone, we want to give you a very, very special welcome.
And you never forget your first, do you?
No, you do not.
No, we got a special episode planned. We got a big Rob coming on as a big guest here later. And then we've got just a whole myriad of topics to get to. Books and sports. I see you put that in there even. So
I think it's got to be
even
recurring.
hit on books and sports.
It's the most recent recurring segment, so it's got to be there. And
yes,
actually, I wrote it wrong. It's sports and books. I got that reversed.
Sports and books.
Yeah, not books and sports. Sports and books.
Yeah, we're not nerds. We're putting sports first over here. But before we get into all of that, I wanted to let you all in on a little something special, I would say.
This is the Strength Company. We've set out to build a better barbell plate on American soil. We ended up here at Wisconsin's legendary Wapaka Foundry. With over 60 years of ironworking experience, the foundry had the knowledge, technology, and processes to build our weights to our exact specifications. The Strength Company plates are slim but rugged, smooth but easy to grip, and electro-coated for durability and to look great in your gym. This is the next generation of American iron, only available from the Strength Company.
And today's
Slim
episode,
but rugged.
Yeah. Today's episode is also brought to you by SwissLink. In 1995, Maurice Big Mo Huffman founded SwissLink with the mission to bring authentic Swiss Army goods to the United States and into the hands of those yearning for quality gear at uncompromised prices. Now, for nearly 3 decades, Big Mo has been traveling far and wide in search of the best items from military forces around the world. Big Mo doesn't only find authentic military clothing for SwissLink, he brings in everything you can imagine from Swiss military rangefinders to Italian police tracksuits. SwissLink.com is also home to the SwissLink Classic Wool Blankets. They're an ideal mix of 80% wool and 20% recycled fibers. It's that special blend that provides a soft, luxurious feel while maintaining the benefits of wool. The designs are reminiscent of brands that rhyme with Schwendelton and Schwudson Bay, but are available at only a fraction of the cost. SwissLink's exceptional collection and dedication to quality customer service distinguishes them from the competition. Enjoy a 15% discount off your next order at SwissLink.com by entering the code MASS at checkout. That's MASS to save 15% at SwissLink.com. Thank you, SwissLink.
Thanks, SwissLink.
You know, that did just remind me of something, talking about military forces around the world and all this stuff. Have you seen the trailers for Oppenheimer yet?
Looks really good.
I want to see that bad.
That looks really good.
I really want to see that one.
Good cast, good subject matter. Yeah. Looks to be well made.
Yeah.
Has Tommy seen it? Not yet.
I'm guessing not many people have, though, so I'm probably okay there.
I do want to see that, though.
Yeah. Could be this summer's Top Gun for you, Tanner.
Top Gun came out. I watched Top Gun last week.
Did you again already? Okay.
Yeah, it came out. I finished it, and I'm like, I swear to God, the next time I watch a movie, it could be that movie again, and I wouldn't be mad about it.
Okay, I mean, I know I got to watch it, but I just...
It is 50% as good as it was in the theater,
I know,
though.
I believe that.
Especially that movie. It's just...
the movie magic.
There's something, there's just something not quite the same as being in the theater. What have you seen the previews for The Machine at all? It's Burt comedian. He's on Rogan a lot.
Kreischer.
Kind of a big, Kreischer. Is it Kreischer?
I think that's how you say his name. He was in Sioux Falls not that long ago.
Okay.
And I missed him, but.
Sounds like maybe that was well received as a new comedy movie. I'm kind of a new guy to be on the big screen like that, I think, too. I haven't seen it.
Trying to open IMDb, but it's incredibly slow. Yeah, I mean, it's rated 6.6 on IMDb, which for a comedy movie, I think is pretty decent.
Yeah. Maybe comedies aren't dead.
Yeah. I'd be interested in seeing this one. But I'm limited to like 1 or 2 movies a year, so I guess Oppenheimer and Top Gun will probably do it for me this year. Don't want to go too crazy.
No, I don't want to go crazy, do you? Okay, we've got a special episode this week, but what do you think about crisping and cracking into a crispy cold one first?
Let's do it. Let's get after it.
Okay. Ooh. I've got mine in a Drink Spotter Light here. I don't know if you're familiar, but these can be found at Massenomics.com.
Or
part of the
over my right shoulder.
Even a classic Drink Spotter out there with a strength co plate in it. What's kind of cool about these Drink Spotter Lights is they can go damn near anywhere with this magnet. You might not be able to see this. Maybe it's just off screen, but
I know I probably say this every week.
five of them molded.
Yeah, you got them stacked.
Yeah, I've got like 30 of them behind me if I look here.
I probably say this every week, but no lie, it's been like 90 some degrees here, and this I took straight out of the garage, and man, like a 90 degree polar
Piping
just
hot.
hits different, man.
Piping hot. What flavor is that?
Oh, strawberry watermelon.
How's that?
It's actually pretty damn good, but it's so hot you almost can't taste it.
Strawberry watermelon going with the 2 reds together like that.
You could say 2 pinks, maybe even.
Right. That's not a typical pairing, I don't think, is it? That seems
I
like
don't think so.
That almost seems like taking, maybe there's an A list of flavors and a not A as in better than B, but there's A as in primary. Actually, primary is the word I'm thinking.
You got your lemons,
there's a primary,
your limes,
right?
Probably
a
your
primary
oranges.
flavor and secondary flavors. Mm-hmm. Strawberry watermelon seems like 2 primaries to me.
I don't know.
Watermelon being a less
common.
I don't know. Watermelon I think is a less common primary.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe that is a secondary though. That's the question, I guess, because strawberry is definitively a primary flavor, right?
Yeah, I still can't get over how hot this is. Like, I would think there's something wrong with my mouth if I didn't know how warm this was. It does taste cold. This would be really good.
I'm going a little off the rails here with a. Do you know what I've got here?
Is it limoncello?
Limoncello.
Oh my God, you have lost all. Wow.
Limoncello. There's also a lime. I don't know. It's not called limoncello. It's called. I don't know what it's called, but it tastes. They took the lime and made this flavor, only lime. I don't know what it's called. I do not like. The limoncello, though, I like. I like this one. It kind of, I don't know. I still don't know what limoncello is supposed to be, but to me, it tastes like vanilla.
Isn't it like an Italian
lemon.
liquor? Isn't that what it is?
I don't know. It tastes like vanilla lemon.
Is a smooth and an Italian lemon liqueur. Okay. That doesn't really narrow it down, though. Guess we'll never know.
But I don't mind this one, but I don't like the lime version of the limoncello.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing.
Off-putting to me. That's not bad. I like it. I'm giving it 3.5. I don't know what I gave it in the past, but I'll give this a 3.5.
This cold is probably a 4. It's that good.
Yeah. You don't think the strawberry and watermelon are competing with each other on your taste
Oh,
buds?
they complement each other quite nicely, to be honest.
I'd have to try it to believe it
They
myself.
really know how to play off of each other quite well.
Mm-hmm. The nodes.
Mm-hmm.
I had something I wanted to talk about this week, as long as I've got you all here.
Oh, wow. Okay. We're getting sat down for this.
Well, first of all, now that I'm thinking about it, I want to tell you about, before I talk about unsubscribing, I want to talk to you about subscribing.
Good
So
call.
I've got, there's going to be topics at odds here.
Yeah,
That's what
they're
this
butting heads.
It's 2 segments.
It's the
within one
duality of
segment
man
here.
happening right now.
Yeah. So first I want to talk to you about subscribing. Later this month in June, we've got a very cool gift for all of our Massenomics supporting members coming. We've hinted at it the last couple of weeks, and most of the pieces of the puzzle are in place now. And this is going to be one of the funnest supporting member, unpaid intern, Discord crew gifts that we've ever given out. Actually, I was thinking, I don't want unpaid intern to die as one of the names. I feel like unpaid intern doesn't get used as heavily as it used to because there's been other names that have maybe like superseded it. Do you feel like that, or am I just making
I think
that
you're a little
up?
bit right. Yeah.
So don't make unpaid intern a cool title again.
But, you know,
That's what I'm
technically you could
campaigning
also say that the
Unpaid and underrated.
Yeah, the fan show is unpaid
Right.
and underrated. So
Right, but I don't want people to not understand why it's
right, okay.
unpaid.
Yeah,
You know, if
that's
you're new
fair.
to it, it's
Yeah,
because
where is that coming from?
Yeah, before any of those, I think unpaid intern was maybe the first title
Probably.
of this group of people.
Yeah, I'd believe that.
Yeah. So don't forget unpaid intern. It's an important title. And where I was going is we like to occasionally, a few times a year, send out, is gift the right word? I always am not sure about that.
I don't.
Is
Sure.
it a gift?
Yeah, I mean, you're getting something for free from us.
For free is kind of an interesting technicality given the...
It's a loophole.
Yeah.
It's a token of our appreciation. So, I mean, some
Yeah.
people might call that a gift. Some people might call that, I don't know.
Right.
Something
Whatever
else.
it is, we send out stuff, and it's a surprise, too. As much as anything, it's a surprise. Nobody knows what they're getting until they get it.
It's the only surprise besides Christmas that you get told about a month in advance.
Right. Right. The good part is you get to look forward to it so long. And what I'm saying, though, is if anyone's been on the fence about joining as a supporting member, now would be the perfect time to get in on it because you're going to get on this gift. It's going to be cool. You won't be able to afford not to get in on this gift.
No.
Is what I'd say.
No, you
This
can't afford
gift
not to.
pays dividends
It does. It certainly
up
does.
front. If something pays you up front, is that a dividend? Usually a dividend you'd get on later. So it's not really
I'd
a
have to
dividend.
ask
It's
our
just,
financial guy. in
yeah,
the
if
Discord
Jeff
here.
is Big Jeff
He's in
listening
there.
live, I feel like that's not a dividend.
It's
But
a realized
I don't know.
gain immediately.
Yeah.
I guess there's technically unrealized gains and realized gains in this gift.
Yeah. So get signed up. Now would be the perfect time to subscribe if you have not subscribed yet as a supporting member. And that's on our website. What's the address that you can do that at?
Massenomics.com/join, or you can
So
just
do
hop
get-
through into the store
Yeah.
and dig around in there too.
Yeah, it's in our store. But yeah, get signed up. Now is the perfect time. Do not wait another month. Don't even wait another week. It could be coming soon, and there'll be a line in the sand where if you join up before it, you're in on the gift, and you join up after it, you're not in on the gift. But if you join up right now as you're listening to this, it's early enough where you'll be in front of the line in the sand. As long as you're not listening to this in like the year 2029. You know, like
I should not
said
go
that.
to the back catalog.
Yeah, it's funny. I said that it must have been in like 2019, and I said something about something just like that, where it's like as long as you're not listening to this in like April of 2023, I threw some month and date out there, and
it
someone
happened.
that was listening through the back catalog messaged and said, you just said this thing, and it is now April of 2023, and I'm just hearing this for the first time." So it was kind of a funny coincidence.
So yeah, you just got to pick dates that aren't like they're far away, but not like that far away. That's the secret to that.
Yeah. Okay. So now the other topic I wanted to get to was the topic of unsubscribing. And I'm not talking about with your supporting membership. This is just something I bet you'll probably be able to appreciate this. If I had to, maybe don't say yet, Tommy, what your habits are as far as this goes. Because
My lips are sealed.
Yeah, I'll have my guesses as to how you manage this, because I bet there's two types of people in the world when it comes to this. And what I'm talking about is email subscription lists that you
Yes.
get on.
Yep.
And
Familiar with
I have been, first of all, I have at least four emails that are all active,
you're saying
used
accounts.
emails. Email accounts,
Yes.
yeah, addresses,
Yep.
and that I get emails that I use all of them.
Are you counting work email when you say that too?
Yeah, actually, if I count, no, I have 5.
Okay.
Yes, I have 5, and a lot of that's Massenomics related and stuff like that. But I have 5, And some of the stuff, like I bought a Harley in 2010 and gotten an email from them a week from Harley Davidson, from the dealership, from another dealership, for probably 3 emails a week for the last 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
And never read anything in any one of those emails. That's just one example.
Mm-hmm.
But I found myself on so many subscribed lists that over the last 2 weeks now, I've been on this immense purge of subscriptions, because I was getting to the point where I was getting so many emails, and if I have a notification on my phone, I like it to go away. So I'd find myself checking this, deleting it. Like I was somehow on the Menards email subscription. I was subscribed on 3 accounts.
Honestly, no, but this ain't my bag, baby.
No, but subscribed on 3 accounts is what I'm saying. Okay. If they would send out an email, I'm like, I have to delete 3 emails on that because it's subscribed on so many different accounts. So I've gone through this enormous purge. I've kept and by purge, I don't mean getting rid of every single one. There's some of them I'm on, whether it's because of Massenomics and it's industry relevant companies. I want to know what they're doing to compare what we're doing,
or equipment,
obviously that sort of thing.
From brands you're actually interested.
Yeah, I might. A few of them are actually companies I want to know if they have something coming out. Not very many of them were. So I probably have unsubscribed from at least 50 email things, maybe more than that. The one thing I'd note is some make it really easy to unsubscribe. Some do not. And what I don't like is when you go to unsubscribe, some of them ask you to put your email address in to unsubscribe, and I don't do it then because I immediately think this feels like a phishing attempt. I'm like, why do I need to put in my email? Like, because some of the lists, I'm like, I don't even know how I got on this email list. And then I go to unsubscribe and you're asking me for my email. How could you possibly need my email for me to unsubscribe? Is that even actually allowable to do that? Like, you should be able to get off this list if you want off the list.
Yeah. Do you want me to chime in on things now?
Oh, and the one thing I would say is, like, I assume you don't subscribe to, like, you don't get any unnecessary ones. You probably unsubscribe to all of them that you don't want to be on.
So
that was my guess.
I'm pretty damn good about this. And I have gone in waves like you where some of it is to pay attention because I want to see how other companies, retail companies, companies in general, I want to see how they're marketing, especially companies that have big budgets and a lot of money. Like, what are they doing? So I have gone in stages where I start to get on more and more lists, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, this is too many. And then you really cut it down hard. But there's very few at this point in time that I'm on that I don't want to be. I would say the biggest culprit for me is a lot of companies technically have, like, when you hit the unsubscribe button, they say, do you want to unsubscribe from our daily emails, from our weekly emails, from our product emails, or from our marketing emails?
Unsubscribe from everything.
Yes. And so some give you that option, and others it's just like, no, you just either unsubscribe or you don't. So I
appreciated that option on some of them, though, because there was someone that gave me that option. I'm like, actually, yeah, you could still send me just for this reason. Everything else, stop it.
Yeah. And so that's what... So you kind of don't know, because some of them are really good. You hit that unsubscribe link in the bottom of the email, and a window pops up and it says, you are now unsubscribed. And you're like, oh, wow, that was simple. And other ones, like you said, there are a lot more steps. There are some that I would like to get less emails from, but I don't really want to hit the unsubscribe button and be completely off their list. So I kind of just put up with some of their more garbage marketing emails when the product ones are decent. But yeah, so what happens, though, is a lot of these companies, this is where the whole privacy thing comes in, is a lot of them do share your email account with their marketing partners or whatever that is. And that's why you pop up on some of the other lists. And I do wonder if that is part of why they have you enter your name in again, because they are required, but like, you're technically not allowed to send email campaigns without an unsubscribe thing. It's like the Spam Act, I think is what it's called. But yeah, I don't know. It does feel super sketchy, but at the same time, you are on their list. So as long as it's like a company I don't think they're scamming you that hard. If it's something you've never heard of, then I would maybe be a little more hesitant to do it. But yeah.
And I've also been blocking a lot. Like, if it's more of the, like, I don't know if I'm even really subscribed to this. I've just been blocking too. Or, I mean, I think in Gmail it saes block. I don't know if that's also
and I don't
just
use
like filtering to junk. Or
I only have 2 email accounts that I use, but I don't even like to send things to junk because I get valid mail that goes to junk, and just sending a bunch of stuff to junk just means it gets like to me
more
that doesn't
stuff
really
in
solve
there.
the problem.
Yeah.
Like that's what I
Right.
get afraid of doing in there. But I was going to say the one that still surprised me to this day though, and maybe you've noticed this, is you hit the button and a lot of them, the best case scenario ones just say you are now unsubscribed. You know, it's done. There's a few that say you are now unsubscribed. Please allow like up to 2 weeks to be off of our list. Like, no, this is electronic. Like,
Yeah.
I have
seen
removed
that.
myself. Like,
I've seen all the things over the course of time, and I have seen that on a couple where I'm like, please allow whatever amount of time. I'm like, how? How is there?
Yeah.
This is instantaneous. There's what?
yeah, and I
is there
think I've
freaking
heard. I think what
apes
I've
in the back like move
I know.
switches here.
It doesn't make sense, but I think the excuse I've heard is that where there is that thing of partner lists being shared is that technically there's some reconciliation process with partner emails they have some time to get you out of the system. And that's why, but still, it shouldn't be that way. It should just be like, no, you click the button, you're done, you know?
Yes.
But yeah, you don't want to wake up in the morning and go to an email account and you have 80 new emails. And of the 80, 65 of them are from email lists. Like, don't be that. Like, you're making your life unnecessarily tough by doing that. Just hit the unsubscribe button, and over the course of a week or two, you'd be shocked how many less emails you're going to get.
Right. Yeah. So that's been my. I'm still even they're coming in still because some are less frequent. I started this only a few weeks ago, and I'm still like, oh, another one slipping through the cracks. Get out of my emails.
Well, yeah,
and I have noticed what I love about it now is what I'm finally getting to the point to. Now, if I get an email notification,
it matters.
It's something that I want to know about. Like, it's not 100% of the time. Before, it was like 20% of the time. It was actually like what I want to see is the Massenomics order. We get an email whenever there's an order. Mm-hmm. Pretty much any email that I get that's not an order annoys me because all I want to see is orders come in from Massenomics. Right? Like, that's kind of what my life has come to as far as emails go. And now, like, a far greater percentage of the overall emails are getting are just something, you know, like an order for Massenomics that's coming in. And I'm liking that like, if I see my Gmail thing pop up, it's like, this is probably something important related to Massenomics now. Yeah.
Yeah. And email, if you think about the concept of email, this is probably the most boring conversation for some people. If you think about
what you do for a living.
It does. It does.
You know,
if you think about the concept of email, though, especially in this day and age, it's so weird in the way that all of the other communication tools, if someone wants to get in touch with you, the platform does so much filtering and blocking and sorting. Like, as long as someone has your email address, they can just get in touch with you. You know, like, there's no like, oh no, Instagram put you in like my hidden folder and I didn't see you. And like, there's none of that. It's just like, you got the email address, you can get in touch with someone. And there's not that like intermediary in between there to try and act on your behalf. And that is a bit of a rarity nowadays. And also, like, you can technically take email and go to different places too. Like, you don't just say like, I'm done using Instagram, so I'm lost and I don't have contact with anyone over there. Like, I guess you could say I'm done using email, but that'd be kind of weird. So like, you're never completely unplugged in the way that you can be with social media.
Well, and also, I think maybe it's you that's brought this to me attention, or I picked up on it somewhere else, but I hadn't been thinking about it in this context. But email as a form of communication is not meant to be an instant message.
No, and it's not.
But that's what people. That's what people start to treat it as. It's like, oh, I sent you an email 20 minutes ago. You haven't responded. It's a freaking letter that you're sending electronically. Yeah, like there should be an expectation. There's not. People treat it like a text message.
They do,
actually, too.
Yes,
you know,
nowadays they do. Well, it's weird because it depends. I think if you're in a more tech savvy company or role, like you probably use Slack, and so your email, you know, or you have basically instant.
So then you use email for a different purpose.
Yeah, you have
for that.
like instant messaging tools essentially at your disposal. So then like email gets used less too. But the other final funny thing about email is that in a way, an email is just kind of a big to-do list. And it's also weird because it's a to-do list that anyone can just add to at any time for you, you know? Like we both, I mean, I have to-do lists. Massenomics, we have a to-do list over there. But then email is its own little to-do list that people can just drop a bomb in there anytime for you. And it's a weird thing when you think about it that way, you know?
Dropping a bomb is a good analogy too, because sometimes at work, that's exactly what it's like. I can be in the midst of 3 other things, and then someone drops this email bomb on my lap that I'm like, okay, you just ruined everything I'm working on, and now like I don't even like I have to immediately sort this out.
You could be thinking today's great. I don't have much going on today, and that one email pops in, and you're like, my day's shot. Like I'm screwed. And just because someone sent that one message, threw that over the fence at you, you know.
That happens daily.
Yeah.
I mean, that is what my work is like. Is that's like actually what my job is. Really is like people throwing these awful bomb emails at you that you're like, oh crap, how do I deal with this? But enough about emails.
Yeah. Our guest is waiting if we want to.
Oh.
He's in there if we want to get the show moving.
Well, let's make him sweat it out just a little bit too.
And when I say that, he's also already been waiting like 8 minutes, so we can keep him sweating out.
Nah, he was recording another podcast actually. I think tonight. And he said he might be a little early, a little late, so he's expecting us to get to him about 10 minutes still. I think so.
Okay.
We're all right. Because I definitely want to get supporting our supporting members in, and we can read a couple ads. Is there any of these other topics that you quickly wanted to talk?
Oh,
some of this we can save too. But
we should probably touch on. Well, sports and books can probably wait. They
might have.
Kind of want to talk about the NBA Finals, but
oh, that's true.
We got a lot.
Well, we could just do a quick sports and books right now, since there's our fastest growing segment.
A quick one right now. Okay, so we're doing sports and books to the front of the podcast.
Yeah,
so we're moving it to the front because it's growing so fast.
How do you say the title? Or
sports and books. They put that emphasis on the B on there.
People want to hear sports and books.
They do want to hear sports and books. Sports. It looks.
Did you watch Game 2?
I did, and even when, there were so many times where you're just like, Denver's gonna destroy them. They're gonna kill them. And even when they're down, you're like, no, they're gonna come back. Like there's no way they're gonna lose this game. Even when they were down 12, you're thinking, yeah, they're gonna come back. And then they lost it, and they've made the series interesting now, which is good. That's what you want in the finals, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was stoked that Miami won, but even when they were up by like 7 with a minute and a half left, I had that feeling. I'm like, just what you said. I'm like, they are not gonna win. Like they're gonna Murray's gonna chuck up a 3. They'll make it. They'll get a steal. Joker will pass it. Another 3. Like they'll be down by 4 in 30 seconds.
Yeah. Well, and that's what happens though. Like the runs in the game are crazy. How fast those can go.
Yes, it is. It is wild. I'm stoked that they won though, because it's just one more game.
I think it said, I don't know if it was since 1990 or ever, that there's only been like 3 or 4 sweeps in the finals ever, which is kind of impressive. You'd think that maybe there'd be a few more of those than that, but good to see that this isn't one of them.
You can't hold anything back now. It's the finals.
No, you can't. Gotta go.
My wife is certainly rooting for this to get over. She's like,
she's been
watching these basketball games for so.
They do.
How is this so long?
They do go a long time, especially when you start hitting game 7s. The series really extend.
She's like, how is this still happening? As far as book segment, 2 of my books finally showed up. I don't know why they took so long to get here, but Atlas Shrugged showed up, and Meditation showed up for me. Both of those got here. I haven't opened Meditations yet. Atlas Shrugged, it showed up yesterday, and in bed last night I started to read it. I read, I think, 5 or 6 pages, and I'm not exaggerating, because I was really excited to read it and like get a start and start to wrap my head around what this is even about. And I got to like the 5th page. This is not an exaggeration. I probably read one paragraph 10 times, because I'd go to the start of the paragraph. It's, this long. I'd get to the bottom of it and I'd be sleeping. And I'd be like, oh, I'd start it over. I'd be like, okay, I feel pretty alert now.
Riveting read.
Get to the bottom of the paragraph, asleep. And it was I was just tired, exhausted. And I tried that like 10 times. And by the 10th time I was like, yeah, I'm
tired, exhausted of reading, or tired, exhausted from the day.
Just from the day, the day had really beaten me down extra hard. So, so I've made it on, I'm maybe like, 0.1% through Atlas
so you
Shrugged.
just keep that pace up for like a couple of years, and
I'll be done
right?
by when we're recording episode 1000.
Yeah,
it is so long and the text is so small.
I
actually need glasses to be able to read it. Probably.
I don't doubt that at all.
So that's sports and books, right?
I think that is sports and books. Yeah.
Okay, that's sports and books in a nutshell. Supporting our supporting members. This is an important one this week. We talked about the supporting membership. Please go get signed up. Get you perks like that surprise we're sending out. You also get to listen along live to the podcast each week. Like, we got a bunch of the crew listening live now. I see, just to name a couple, I see Big Keegan, Big Keith, one of the Davids, Big Jeff, Big Alex, Big Old Scants in there, a whole bunch of them. And another thing you get is we do the supporting our supporting members segment each week, where we try to give back to a few people that we saw doing something cool over the last week. So Big Jesse was in a strongman competition. It sounds like it went well. I didn't have a long prep for it, but I think it still went well, and he was able to get do well on a few events, including third on the Yoken Farmers Run. So well done, Big Jesse. Big Dan, and this is, of course, Big Dan with the arm tats.
Of
For anyone
course.
that doesn't know, it's Big Arm Tat Dan. He competed in vintage strength games in North Carolina. I don't know if you saw this at all, Tommy, but it consisted of 11 events.
I caught just a little bit of this. It was very interesting.
He had like 12 medals on him at the end of it. He had 7 wins, and it included like mace swings and a bunch of odd events. What we would normally consider to be odd.
Things you don't typically train in the gym.
Yeah. Then Big Spoon Man was the guest this week on the Unpaid and Underrated podcast. He was this week's guest, so make sure to check that out. And then, last but not least, a special supporting members shout out to Big Brody W, who, if you remember from last week, was that last week?
Yep, that was last
Gave
week.
us those dirty sodas. Shout out to him. He was my son's coach last night at Summer League basketball.
Oh.
So big shout out.
Conflict
and
of
making
interest.
sure he got the start. So big shout out to Big Brody.
That's good.
Not only delivering the dirty old sodas, but also hell of a
Delivering some
basketball
playtime.
coach. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. All right, I'll read an ad here, and then we'll get this going.
This show on the road.
Well, this episode is also brought to you by Barefoot Shoes. Most shoes harm your mobility by over-restricting your foot's natural movement. Barefoot shoes are designed with minimal restrictions so your feet can move the way they're supposed to. Move with more strength and confidence in every step. Barefoot Shoes was founded by Chris Duffin, who attributes proper foot biomechanics as foundational to his success in squatting and deadlifting over 1,000 pounds for reps. He helped create the company to provide a minimalist shoe that can be worn for anything from deadlifts to walking your dog. Go to www.barefoot.shoes to check out the best minimalist shoes available. And while you're there, make sure to use code Massenomics to save 10% on your next order. And Barefoot Shoes is also a proud sponsor of the Massenomics Lift Hard, Live Easy powerlifting meet this July. And they're going to be having a booth there too. So anyone visiting, make sure to go over and get some shoes from them.
Absolutely. This week's episode is also brought to you by our fine friends over at SPUD Ink Straps. You can check them out at spud-ink-straps.com. They're the ones with all the belts and straps and wraps. Pretty much anything that you could fit into a gym bag, you can order it at spud-ink-straps.com. I was just earlier looking at their band packs that they've got, where they sell pretty much every size of band that you would need. They got them in pairs or singles, or you can buy the full packs. Pretty affordable price per band when you break it down of what they got there. And, of course, they're just Spud Ink Yellow, so you can't beat a Spud Ink Yellow band, if you ask me. Check it out on their website. If you order that, that would qualify for free shipping, because they have free shipping on all domestic orders that are $75 or more. Thank you, Spud Ink. When you order, make sure to let them know that your good old buddies at Massenomics sent you.
All right. Should we get our guest in here?
Let's do it.
Okay, I'm going to allow him to start video. I'm going to not mute him upon entry. And I'm going to allow him to... okay, I'm going to hit all the buttons correctly.
I've got faith in you.
And now I'm going to let him in. See if I can do this
Gonna work
seamlessly.
flawlessly, yeah. Got a good feeling about it. go.
Hello, hello.
Big Rob, you old son of a gun.
Yeah.
What's up, Rob?
Oh, I am up late. That is what is up. I am an old man.
Hey, we feel your pain.
Whew. I mean, the transference from wherever it is in your Dakotas over here to Pittsburgh is making me stay up late. So I love it. I would only do it for the two of you.
That's what the podcasting life is all about.
It is.
Sacrifices.
Yes.
It's about staying up late when the rest of your family's in bed and you talk to strangers across the world on the internet.
That's right. What are you doing, Dad? I have to talk to these guys from South Dakota.
Why? Why do
I'm
they
not
look like
sure.
that?
It's like there's some things you'll just never understand.
Actually, since I wear your shirts a lot, it was an easy reference. It was like, oh, do you know those shirts that I can't wear to your youth sports because they're all alcoholic based? No, I didn't say that to my kids.
What's that shirt you're wearing right there?
Oh, this is a handcrafted shirt of mine.
Okay. Because what is all on that? I recognize all those logos, I think. So,
well, I was sitting here for a while. My previous engagement ended earlier than I thought, and I was sitting here, and I didn't want to wear a Massenomics shirt to a Massenomics podcast. That's like the dork at the concert, wearing.
Oh no, we
band's
encourage
shirt.
that. We encourage that behavior here.
We do it all the time.
Oh, you can wear your own. That's
yeah.
Like you're promoting your own. That's completely fine, and it's economical. I mean, it makes sense. But for me, I was like, I don't want to be at like the whatever Queens of Stone Age concert in the Queens of Stone Age shirt. That's
right.
That's dorky. So instead, I thought it'd be really cool to just put some stickers.
Okay, they're stickers.
Oh
okay.
yeah,
okay.
Of various other people I like.
Well, I see surplus strength, and is that Big Carps? That red and black?
You better believe it
Carp?
is.
Yeah,
Big Carp's
supporting
in there.
member of Massenomics right there, Big Carp.
Yep, he's my coach. And
okay.
Yep, because I don't pay for a coach, but he goes by coach. So I just,
Okay, yeah.
just say, hey, coach. So yeah, Coach Carp, and then Plate Snacks, who I think you should do a little collaboration with. I was thinking
we might
about that.
need to.
Whenever I put it on, I thought, I'd buy some Massenomics Plate Snacks. Like that would be something I'd put in my gym.
Looking like a snack.
Yep.
So this is, for anyone that doesn't know, this is Big Rob of Vintage Weights PGH.
You got it.
And it wasn't for a while that I knew that PGH means Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's I recently spoke with Matt Vincent, and he was talking about just the hate brand that he had, the H with the Roman numeral 8, and how, you
people
could tell
didn't get it for years.
No, how people just didn't get it forever. And I could empathize because no one knows what PGH is. People think it's Vintage Weights PGH. They have no idea. They figure out my name's Rob, and they're like, well, there's not even an R in it. Like, what is his real name? So yeah, it just stands for Pittsburgh. I thought it was widely known, but in typical Yinzer fashion, that's what Pittsburghers call each other, is Yinzers.
We see, I didn't know that either.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Like,
That's
that's a funny.
Pittsburgh.
I'm like, that's a funny way to say Inzer. Is there some weight?
Oh no, it doesn't. Not the groundbreaking maker of knee sleeves and squat suits and things. No, Yinzer. It's because in Pittsburghese you slur a lot of words together, and very often people will say in Pittsburgh, instead of "Are you going somewhere?" they'll say "Yin's going there," or another one is "Jeet yet? Did you eat yet? Jeet yet?"
Yeah.
So then, since they say Yins instead of you, the plural you, Yins, that's where Yinzers.
Yeah,
Yinzers.
Okay.
So being a prideful member of the Pittsburgh community, I did not recognize that no one else knows what PGH is. But in Pittsburgh, I'm not kidding. There's people in T-shirts that say PGH. Like it's a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this might be an awkward time to tell you we're actually planning on rebranding to Vintage Weights Western Northeast South Dakota, WNESD. So it's going to get awkward, but
you're going to put my hobby out of business.
Yeah. And the reason we're doing that is this is particularly timely having you on this week. Our YouTube video comes out this week. Actually, the time the podcast comes out, the YouTube video is already technically out. So check it out. But what we did was we did a restoration on some round head dumbbells, a couple sets of round head dumbbells. And I step for step copied exactly what you said to do in your video.
Nice.
And I did give you credit in the video too, so you'll be pleased with that. But I even bought I just clicked the links in your description on your video and bought all the stuff that you said to buy, and bought it through your links, and it all came out great. You'll be able to. You haven't seen the video yet yourself, but they came out awesome. So it had a couple sets of rusty round heads, was a set of 15s, a set of 4s, and the 15s were quite rusty. But I did the oxalic acid bath, and scrubbed them down, did the 3-in-1 oil, the whole kit and caboodle, and boy, they look cool. They actually, like these 15s, I'm like, oh, these are going to be the worst looking round heads in my set. Mm-hmm. And now afterward, I'm like, well, now these are making some of the non-restored ones look worse.
Yeah.
It's like,
that happens.
Funny.
Yeah. I mean, I like the surprise of it that, I mean, you don't know what's underneath the rust. So I've had weights that, I had no idea that they were blue and painted blue, and then they come out and I'm like, what the hell is this? And there's been, there's the transformation. You never know what's going to happen. It sounds complicated. When you first look at it, you're like, oh my gosh, this is more than 3 steps. I don't want to do this. But personally, I think it's a pretty easy flow. It's like a weekend project.
I was telling Tommy, it would have been really fairly simple. It wouldn't have been that much into it. What makes it a longer process, which you could probably relate to this, is I also was making it a YouTube video. Yeah. And setting up the camera, recording the audio, makes it take 3 times as long when you're also trying to use it for content purposes.
Oh yeah. I equate it to, I often have my children help me with projects around the house. I don't have them help me restore weights because I value their health, but I have them around the house do things, and I always kind of just double the time. I'm like, all right, this would probably take me like an hour to mow the lawn, but let's start about an hour earlier than I intended if I have some helpers. That's the way I feel with filming any type of content with a project, is that it's going to take me at least twice as long, maybe longer.
Right. So what would you say? We've talked about several of the things now, but what would you say? What is it you like to do with Vintage Weights PGH? We follow along the YouTube channel quite a bit of what you're doing, but like, what if you were explaining to someone that said, "What? Oh, you have a YouTube channel? What do you do?"
Well, I mean, it's changed a little bit over the past 2 years. Well, actually, 1.5-ish to 2 years of doing it. It started out, I was offloading some weights. I had started collecting a little more seriously. I just wanted to get together like a set of milled Yorks, but then I started picking up others. And I thought, for posterity's sake, I kind of take some pictures of the ones that I was sending away. I know that sounds goofy to some people, like, why do you give a crap? But I did give a crap. So I thought, I'll post them on here on Instagram. And so from there, I started selling them, and I thought too, oh wait, maybe if I post them on Instagram and I drop a link to like the eBay listing, people will see it. And in my head, I thought that was really going to come together, and it came together for about like 10 followers. But then after that, what happened was, the blessing in disguise was, there are so many people out there that know so much about strength history and physical culture that I almost instantly on Instagram started learning so much. And that led to, making some friends that were way more knowledgeable and experienced with all of this stuff. What you're mentioning, Tanner, the oxalic acid bath, I learned the basics of that from Eric Stanek, really knowledgeable guy. Just about most of the basics of all the restoration I learned from other people. And then I just kind of, like you do when you make it your own, you figure out little, I guess hacks is the trendy word, but you figure out little tricks and little ways to make it easier. So then I got into the history of it, and people really like hearing the history of things in addition to the restoration. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I put out videos on YouTube that are either historically based about strength history and physical culture, which refers to strength history, or I put out project videos. I do reviews as well, which that's why I emphasize this is more of a hobby, even though, hey, I appreciate you clicking the links, Tanner. Good for you. That is the kind of, that's leaving a nice tip at the table for a waiter that did you a service. So thank you.
And really, you did do me a service because I copied. I mean, I literally just did exactly what you say to do in the video, and that's what I did. So that was a service. And beyond that, I mean, you've helped me out. For anyone, I mean, everyone that's listening already knows. We probably already talked about it in this episode. I can't remember, but I've been working on collecting round head set of Yorks, and you've been helping me out in that process, just in a number of ways of just like letting me know what common price. I mean, you have videos about all this stuff too, but it also saves me a little time if I can just ask you rather than make sure
I get that a lot.
Just bug someone else.
Let me just take up more of your time, even though you already made this video to tell me this.
Exactly. If I'm not doing anything, I have a frequently asked questions file on my phone, and I'll just like copy paste, or I'll answer straight out. If I'm busy, usually I just drop links to the videos, and I'm like, here you go. Here you go. So I do reviews of weights, deep dish, which I found are, you know, not really big money makers when they're companies that don't exist anymore, or things that
their
are
affiliate
made
codes
anymore.
just don't work very well, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can save so much by clicking the link that doesn't exist because the internet didn't exist when this was made. But the reason I do it is that I wish those things existed whenever I had started kind of seeking out some of these things. There's a lot of people coming to vintage weights, and I don't mean you have to get obsessed with vintage weights and have a whole gym full of them, but kind of like you, Tanner, thinking, oh wow, like I really like these round heads, maybe I'll get a set of round heads. You know, a lot of people are complimenting what they already have, or complimenting the build out of their home gyms with some vintage weights, whether it's a weight plate set or a barbell or something, a unique machine, an old Nautilus or something like that they're bringing into their gym. And I kind of wish, like with deep dish specifically, deep dish plates, excuse me, that there was a source, a place to go where I could see some in-depth reviews the same way I could look at, you know, Basement Brandon or Gluck or someone talking about modern plates. So
never heard of those guys, but
yeah, I know. They don't
make a note
they
over
don't
here.
come around.
No, that's cool. I think you're doing a really good job. It's good stuff. I've used it several times, and I just like, I'm as a gym owner and stuff, I'm just maybe I'm more interested than the average person. I don't know, but I like the vintage weight stuff. What's that bar that you if you even call it a bar? What is that? What's the name of that bar?
That is the Leg Blaster, I think you're referring to. Yeah, the Leg Blaster is I posted the find video. I'm in the process of making the review video for it because it came with original paperwork. Basically, it's a kind of like a safety squat bar had a baby with a, you know, like some type of buffalo bar, maybe. Like it's
like the way I would have described it to someone is like, it's like a Mars bar that looks like it was made in 1950.
Yes, like a Mars bar. There you go. That's a better description. Not really, because I was thinking of how the weights kind of tilt sometimes, and then the Frank Zane version is tilted. That's why I was thinking like the weight distribution of the Buffalo bar. But yeah, you're right. It's more like a Mars bar because I'm staring at it right now, by the way. Yeah, I can put it on for the rest of the podcast. So it's got a harness that comes over. And what it reminds me of is if you've ever seen like a marching band and the drummers in a marching band, it reminds me of like the drummer's harness that they pick up the drum and put on to have their snare drum or their quads. It's like that. And then instead of the weights going on, typically the way they go on to sleeves on most barbells, they sit flat, which is why I referred to it as flying it, because it feels kind of like you have wings. You've got these like kind of odd weights hanging out on either side of you that are sitting flat. I don't know how else to describe it. Horizontally instead of vertically. There you go.
Right.
Tanner, is this kind of like that Zurcher harness thing?
You guys talk for a second. I'm putting it on.
Yeah.
Didn't we
Yeah,
have
when
one of
people
those?
see it.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Was
it's
it
sort
Nick?
of like that, except if it has that's at the gym still. Yeah.
Okay, it is. Okay.
Except if it had like bars going out from the sides that
Yeah.
weight could rest on, like a little ways out. You know,
Yep.
just like
I
that.
know
Yeah.
it fits in my rack because
Yeah.
the first time I tried to put it in the rack, I dropped it on the floor.
So for anyone that's just listening. This is available on YouTube, and you can watch Big Rob. He has this on right now, so make sure to check it out on our YouTube channel. You can see him wearing the leg blaster right now.
So this is the original leg blaster. It was developed by Jim Moore, so it's called Moore's leg blaster. And then later he had patented, and I have the 1983 dozen exercises, the golden dozen exercises that came with it, and that's what I'm working through. So I've done the deep knee bend. I posted the other day trying an unassisted, which you cross your arms and squat. And then next up, there's some predictable ones like shrugs. But then there's some ones that I'm like, hey, that's not predictable. So I'm a little nervous about the good mornings. I feel like this is not enough going around my shoulders.
To hold it there. Yeah. Right.
So I'm a little nervous. I haven't touched on the good mornings yet, but that is one of the golden dozen. So I am going to get there. So slowly but surely. It's going to be a YouTube video. For now, I just post occasionally on Instagram as I work through. But this is a good example of something that I love, that it's never really stuck around, but it was around enough. Like it was there enough that it became a thing. And then Frank Zane, he ended up with the patent and put out his version of it. And most people associate it with Frank Zane. Like when I post the videos of it, a lot of people are like, he copied Frank Zane. I'm like, nope. Other way around.
Yeah. So that's a pretty interesting piece of gym equipment, obviously, like something you don't see very often. It was probably kind of a rare find that it ever came up, and you snatched it up, obviously, when it came up. What would you say? Is there something out there that you don't have right now that would be your holy grail piece of gym equipment that if you saw it available, you're like, oh, I am dropping everything and doing everything in my power to get this?
Before I answer, I just want to compliment you guys that I just banged this thing off the upright a couple times. You might have heard. And I have not one, but two drinks to the right of me that were saved.
How'd they get saved?
I'll tell you why, boys, because my main beverage is in the original, the vintage drink spotter.
Vintage drink
and
spotter.
My secondary beverage, which I'm now fortunate enough, I'm a high roller to have, is in the drink spotter light.
Smart.
Yep, that's how you do it.
They would have been spilled for sure. All right, now that I've sorted that out. Okay, so you're asking about fines and what I'd really like.
Yeah, well, what's your holy grail? Is there one holy grail piece out there?
I'll send you a link. I got a video for that. I just put it out last week. I'm really not kidding. Like I literally put out this video last week. So it's a Gibson weight plates. And Johnny Gibson was a fascinating guy, to me at least. And I'm working on a biographical video of Johnny Gibson. I've been working on it for a while because I keep learning new things about him. Like I think, okay, I got enough. Like I'm going to make the video. And then I learned something new. And I'm like, well, I have nothing about this. Like I got to get this piece in there. So yeah, he's just, I mean, the plates themselves look very similar to Jackson and Weider plates. They have a cross hub, which is kind of a cool thing. The center hub has these kind of like a crosshair coming out of it. But they are extremely rare. And it's the combination of the history and the look that I just really like. And mostly the story behind it. I've really am fascinated by Johnny Gibson. So I want to know, I want to have his plates. And he, to give you a little bit, I won't tell you the whole biography. He was a veteran and a World War II, I mean, like war hero, wounded in action. He was a barber in Arizona his entire life, even though he also was a contest-winning lifter and bodybuilder. Had a used gym store. I could go on and on. He's just like a Renaissance man.
So that would be the holy grail piece
for me personally.
Yeah. You're an Air Force vet yourself, right?
I am. Yeah. 21 years, 4 months.
I was an Army guy myself. Why? This is just a very quick aside, but why does could you tell me why the Air Force has this stigma of being like the most laid back branch?
The chair
relative?
force.
Yeah.
That's usually what we get called, the chair force. We're fighting from that office chair. So I really don't know. Laid back is a polite way of phrasing it.
That's what I did actually try to do it. I was saying it politely.
That's the most polite criticism of the Air Force I think I've ever heard. Guys, you're just chill. Well,
actually, a lot of the criticism from the other branches comes out of jealousy, though, because it's like, oh, it seems like you guys are doing like it doesn't seem like you're getting yelled at, or just like your amenities are better, and like I want good amenities.
I don't know if this is the right answer, but thank God we're not playing overrated, underrated yet. But so I don't know if this is the right answer. But in my opinion, I think that it has to do with the careers, and that in the Air Force, there are a handful of careers that are extremely dangerous, but there's such a wide swath in the Army and in the Marines of careers that an 18-year-old is going to, guard this plot of land with his or her life that don't exist in a wide majority in the Air Force. So I think there's just that difference. And because of the training that has to go into that, now on the flip side, there's extremely technical training that takes place in plenty of Army careers, but there's a whole lot in the Air Force. Right. Technical training that takes place. And I think that has a lot to do with it. But, it's the kind of thing that existed early in my career where, everyone just kind of like, they pump you up that you are the best. And then you naturally put down the other ones. But then as you get older and you've been around for a while, you just kind of laugh at the younger guys. And you do get laid back about it. And not just me, but plenty of Army and Marines. Oh, absolutely. And Navy.
It's like everything. When you get a little older, you're like, well, why did we what would be
exactly?
Like, who cares about that?
I don't give a crap. Oh no, make fun of my very nice accommodations. I will be so sad when I go to my breakfast tomorrow morning. So I mean, that hotel at the beach was horrible.
I know they were naval pilots, but are you a Top Gun fan or not a fan?
I am a fan, and embarrassingly, for a long time as a child, thought it was the Air Force. I never pieced together. I must have missed all the aircraft carrier scenes. Like, I don't know. Right. Long time as a child. And no, I'm a fan. I just watched it with my oldest son, the new one, the Maverick.
Tommy hasn't seen it yet. How good is it? Tommy has not seen it. Yeah, he has not seen it.
How dare you? So
I only have so much time. I only get like 3 movies a year. So, I got to really be selective here.
Do you have children? Start watching them with your kids.
It'll get on the list. Yeah, he's only 3. Maybe he's ready for it. I don't know.
That's a perfect time because so much will just go right over his head. Yeah, you don't want to wait until like they can recognize inappropriate things.
True, that is a good point. Yeah.
It's just fast planes and some talking parts you have to fast forward to with a 3-year-old. No, I mean, jokes aside, I thought it was good. I really don't even like Tom Cruise, to be honest. But I thought the movie was good. I thought it was, I guess I'd phrase it this way. The jump the shark moment wasn't as bad as I had feared. I don't want to ruin it for you, Tommy, but, or any other listeners, but I had feared from my military knowledge that, and the trailers for it, the previews, like, oh man, I hope they don't do X, Y, and Z. That's going to be so like unrealistic and not even in the, suspend belief Hollywood type of frame of unrealistic. And it really wasn't. I mean, it was unrealistic, but not that bad. So I liked it.
Well, it's not unrealistic when you consider you have Maverick as the pilot. Like, I mean, he can do anything. So
he can do anything. So yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. Did you see Brian Shaw's video that he uploaded today?
No.
Do you follow Brian Shaw on YouTube?
I do. Yeah.
You should see what his video is that he uploaded today. You're going to be interested. You're going to want.
All right. Well, now you've got me intrigued.
Tommy, you looked it up earlier. What is the title of his
Let me get it for you right now. The official title is I bought the world's rarest dumbbells.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to see that.
I haven't watched it yet. I got
I know the
DM'd it by about
backstory
5.
of it.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, let's hear that.
I'm guessing this would be the Globe dumbbell set that he just bought.
I think it's about his globes that he's got.
Yeah. So I don't know how much I can say about this, but I'll just say
you can say everything.
Leave no details out.
Well, I mean, even though, like I said, I think vintage weights are starting to grow in popularity in terms of people incorporating them, it's a smaller community. And I find that it's a rabid, smaller community. Like, people are ferocious and just, I mean, cutthroat at times. But on the other hand, they're also fast friends because, most of the people in my life don't even lift weights, let alone give a crap about an old weight. They don't realize at all that these things are valuable that I deal with. So you meet someone that is passionate and obsessed with the same thing you are, and you're bound to be friends to a certain extent. So I've made really, really good friends. And because of that, when something happens like that, when like a major person like Brian Shaw is seeking out a Globe dumbbell set, word gets around. And so I heard about that, in a way, and I guess now can say that now that he's publish this video. Now, if it turns out not to be the Globe dumbbells, oh man, I'm gonna need you to edit this.
No, I think it's the it's the Globe dumbbells. I haven't watched yet, but I almost looked like from a thumbnail or something I saw. Did he have like round heads and Globe dumbbells? Maybe it was I don't know. Maybe it was just the Globe set that he had.
He's had round heads for a long time. He's had round heads, deep dish, of course, blobs. He's now incorporating into some grip stuff into the Shaw Classic. That'll be really cool. I've gotten into grip strength and grip training a lot the past about 6 months. I dabbled in it for about a year, but the past 6 months or so, I've been really into it. So I'm excited about that for the Shaw Classic. Not that I'll be competing, but to watch.
So if it was a full set, would a full set of buns and blobs be 5s to 100s every 5 pound increment? Is that a full set?
Okay, so buns and globes.
I was saying blobs. Okay. I meant buns and globes. Yes,
buns and globes are other manufacturers made buns, but it's probably York and York buns and globes. Yes, the York buns and go from 1 to 45, and then just like the round heads do. And
so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12.
Exactly. So I mean,
15,
here,
okay.
like same as like a 1 pound round head, there's a 1 pound bun.
Okay.
The big difference though between the buns and the round heads is that the buns each have kind of like their unique characters and characteristics, I guess I should say, to put that better. So like, even I'm looking at my rack of them right now, like even the 20s to the 25s have like kind of a teardrop shape, whereas the 20s are like a perfect like hamburger bun shape. Even the lettering and numbering are slightly different, and that would probably bother some people. Some people want like a nice uniform. It's all
like the round head set is a uniform set. Outside of some of the smalls are slightly different with the way the handle is and stuff, but
like for example, in the round heads, the 12 pounds are one of my favorites for that reason. They're just a little bit off in terms of the proportions, so I think that's cool. But that, for me though, I'm not that way. I love that about the buns. I think it's really cool that the numbering and lettering is different. Like the 5 pound buns, it might turn a different direction. They might have York written lengthwise rather than the other way. So I don't know. I could go on and on. I don't want to go too far into the weeds here, but that's the cool thing about them. And then the globes starting with 50 go up through 100 for the old style ones. There are some manufacturers that have heavier, like Jackson made 125s, 150s.
So big. If we just assume Brian went out and bought a full set of buns and globes, and we'll say they're York, and he got a full set all out, one-stop shop. I don't know that was the case, but let's say he did. What do you think the going rate? What would be even a appropriate price range to put on that full set like that? Geez. If you're buying, where I mean,
Well,
Just to give some sort of
man.
context for someone listening that doesn't know.
It's hard. You don't see full sets of buns and globes that often.
Like, would that be $10,000?
Because, oh yeah, easily.
Yeah.
Because, well, I shouldn't say easily. I'm trying to do the math in my head. I can give you the price per pound typically.
Right.
So price per pound, the buns 5 through 45 are usually going to be about $2 to $4 a pound. And the reason why is that buns and globes predate roundheads. So roundheads came around in the 1960s, whereas the buns and globes, York barbell, came around 1930s. So they were around for 30 years before that. So they're about $2 to $4. And I say the common ones 5 through 45 because the smalls weren't produced as much. And especially the 9-pounders and 12-pounders are like unicorns. They're really hard to find for the buns. They're extremely hard to find for the roundheads, but even harder to find for the buns. And then the globes, it gets there's a little more, I don't know, up and down. Generally, the globes, the 50 through 100, are about $3 to $5 a pound, but it gets higher with certain ones. So, for example, the 5-pound ones, excluding 75 pounds, are somewhat rarer. Most people think. I mean, there's no definitive that I know of, like, production numbers, but logically speaking, a lot of people would gravitate towards 50, 60, 70, 80 rather than 55s. You know, a lot of people would pick up 50-pounders and 60-pounders and not be like, yeah, 55s today. So that's why. And then the hundreds are, I mean, you'll see them commonly go just the pair of the hundreds for $1,000 for $10 a pound.
Right.
Wow.
So that's, or I guess that's $5 a pound.
Yeah,
$5 a pound. See, I told you, I'm not doing the math here, boys. So, I mean, my math is like your geography. So,
Oh, very accurate.
So, I mean, just going off that, your 10,000 mark, yeah, I'd be comfortable saying it'd be 10,000 or up because just the hundreds alone would go for 1,000.
Right. What, so we're talking a lot about the price and stuff, and that's something people always want to know about. Our thought or our question on the price was, I mean, generally it's been going up, like a lot of things. I think it's going up, and I think maybe some of the popularity, like maybe more people like me coming into it that are maybe a little
tanners. They're ruining it for everyone else.
Right. Yeah. Driving the market.
Come on.
There's always a tanner there to ruin something.
Yeah. Do you think that there could be a bubble?
Yes.
That, do you think there could be a bubble? Like, could we be, it's very hard to predict when and where that is. I mean, we'd all be rich if we could predict that because we could apply it to things outside of round head dumbbells and stuff and vintage weights. But like, I feel like coming into it, even the little bit I know, I feel like there could be a bubble. And at some point, especially with the way the relative ease of access of trading these things and buying and selling them now with all the internet resources, you know, people like you, like the Facebook groups, and just how like you can shift hands on these things very easily relative to what it used to be like. And the markets are there to do it. I just feel like at some point in time, could come down from where it's at now even, but I don't know what you would know much better than me. So I'm curious on what your opinion is.
Well, I appreciate the compliment, but I gave a quick yes because it's a collectible. If you're paying more than just what you would pay in the store, it's a collectible, in my opinion. And that means it's going to ebb and flow. And for example, I just watched a documentary about the rise in the baseball card industry or sports cards industry and how it's skyrocketed. There's people making like millions off of sports cards. You know, I think with weights, it ebbs and flows. I also think people influence it. And people can influence the price of weights. You know, suddenly they start, you know, kind of pushing a certain one or a rarity of a certain one, and now everyone's grasping for it. Right. The fluke kind of thing that happens too is that something that was super rare, suddenly someone finds a whole bunch of them, and it's not that rare anymore. So, or it's just like a fluke. It's just like, you know, like someone recently, really great guy, awesome collection, posted to one of my favorite Facebook groups, the vintage York barbell owners, these York bumpers. But like there had been so many pairs of them recently that, I don't know. I mean, might not be as valuable as they had been. And that's happened. I've seen that happen with several things where suddenly a whole bunch of pairs of them are coming out and people get real excited about it. But then on the other hand, people are like, oh, well, there's a bunch of pairs. I don't need to pay that much. So yes, I think there is a bubble in a sense. I do think that at the very least, because this is the way I sold it to my wife when I was like, yeah, I'm going to buy a whole lot more weights than I really need, was that there's still weights. Like, if suddenly they're not collectible, if you enjoy lifting weights, because I very strongly believe that there's no authority on the value of weights. There's no like definitive, this is what they're worth. But I also believe that your gym shouldn't be a museum. You should lift the weights that you own. So as long as you're not a curator at a museum and you're a lifter, you're going to be able to lift them. So I think there'll always be some value. I do think there's ebb and flow to it, and that, you know, certain ones will go up and down. Like there's a whole bunch of OMCs, nice shiny Vonkos that hit eBay for a while there, and a couple sets sold like skyrocket prices, and then a couple sets just kind of sat for a while. And you know, there's the up and down. So maybe Brian Shaw will skyrocket the prices of Globe dumbbells today, or maybe the opposite will happen.
Yeah, I just don't want him to I'm still trying to collect the last few pairs of round heads, so I just don't want those to get drastically affected. Actually, as a good for putting price in perspective to people.
Yeah.
So the ones I don't have now are 6s, 9s, and 80s to 100s. So basically, like the most expensive ones are the ones I don't have right now. But I have pieced together a large percentage of the collection. It's just like these outliers, and 80s to 100s are kind of expensive because, like you said, they're weights, first of all, and those are the heavy weights.
Yeah.
So even just at a normal dollar per pound, at a couple dollars per pound, a set of 100s would just be at minimum $400 or $500 just for like the value of any dumbbell, a decent dumbbell of that size. Then you add in some collectability, it gets, 800 pounds or $800, 600, 700. Like that's just the way it is on those heavy ones. The crazy part, and it's because of the scarcity, is the 6s and 9s. There was recently a pair of 9s that came up for sale that I tried to buy from the guy, and I think I eventually offered like $275 for the pair, and I couldn't get it from him. I think someone bought them for well over $300 for a pair of 9-pound dumbbells, round heads. Yeah,
I only had a single 9-pound round head, and I sold it. So yeah, I feel your pain. I think you can pair up singles. I think, like you mentioned, the nice thing is 6s and 9s you can easily mail with flat rate boxes. The 80s through 100s you cannot. So that's where it gets really tough. You got to set up, and that's where having friends really helps. There's, for example, on Home Gym Discord.
I'm going to try that sometime, the friends thing.
Yeah, you got to
writing
you
a
got to
note
really
right
connect
now,
with
get
people.
friends.
Hey, you got Big Ed out here.
Yeah,
Big Eddie out here in Pennsylvania doing your bidding. It'll be all right. So, no, I think having some friends, like if I see something in Rochester, New York, I think right away Big Keith. I'm like, oh, like, except for the York deep dish. My first York deep dish I drove to Rochester and got and did not tell.
So
Big
he
Keith.
could, you're like, don't like yes, please take this listing down. And if anyone in an orange t-shirt contacts you, he's a serial killer. Please stay away from him.
You want to stay away from that guy. But no, I mean, jokes aside, that's where it helps out, because then I think, okay, well, he could hold on to them, and then I know he'll be at Home Gym Con. I'll be at Home Gym Con. I'll pick him up.
Right.
So, trying to connect with people helps out a lot with the stuff that's really hard to ship. Otherwise, you got to do a lot of driving. Like that's why I made the video about the leg blaster that I had on for a minute, was that, it wasn't a gargantuan trip, but I drove into Ohio on a maybe it's still there, maybe not, but I really wanted this thing. So I took the chance and it was still there.
Is there any, Tommy brought this one up, I think, is there any specific pieces of equipment either that you have or you're just aware of in the market, anything that you think specifically is undervalued or overvalued right now? And I know you say that, there's there's not an authority on any of it, but,
Yeah.
But if
things
you're
that
just
you
getting
see trading
on the pulse of the market, what's it telling you right now?
Well, like I said, there's an ebb and flow of things, and stuff that will be really sought after then isn't. There's interesting stuff that happens. So I think right now, Jackson weights, there was a Jackson listing on, and I don't have Jackson Olympic weights. I have a number 5 50-pound pair, but I don't have Olympics yet. And they were rare prior to this, but there was just a gargantuan eBay listing that exploded, and the top bid was 20 grand for it. And I mean, it was just everywhere, whether it was home gym disc. Oh, I was going to mention that too. Home gym Discord. There's some really good guys on there in the vintage channel that talk about. And I know like you would never leave the Massenomics Discord, but if you ever branch out a little bit.
There are no other Discords, first of all.
Yes.
But if there was.
Thank goodness you said goodbye to the crew. They'd all be burning me at the stake right now. So, but there are some nice people in the Vintage Weights channel on Home Gym Discord, and they really work together to try to help each other out. Same with the Facebook groups like Vintage York Barbell Owners and Vintage Weightlifting Swap. And in those groups, I mean, it was just constant as this auction was going on eBay, just constant like, no, it's not going to go over 10. It can't go over 10. And then it was like, oh my gosh, 12 grand. And then it just kept going and going. And I mean, it was like, as soon as I could get on my phone, I was checking like, how much is it now? Like, who are these people? Is this really going to sell? Is this like a thing? And I mean, it was a very immaculate set. It was a huge set, like multiple pairs of 45s. It included a barbell that was extremely rare. It included collars that were extremely rare for the barbell. So it was just a really good looking set too, not just like a random pair of 10s or something. So yeah, that I would say that would be an undervalued right now. As weird as that sounds, I feel like the price of Jacksons are going up. On a lower level, undervalued, I just made a video not too long ago about Billard deep dish. I think Billard made in USA are undervalued. They typically sell for about $2 a pound. And I mean, they're made in the United States. If you get the right ones, they were made in the United States. I've had 4 pairs of them, and they're all fairly accurate within 2%, if not 1% of weight tolerance, which that's problematic with a lot of vintage deep dish. You put it on the scale and it weighs 42 pounds instead of 45, or even worse, it weighs 51 pounds. That happened to me. I almost fell off my bench. So yeah, I mean, Billard, you can get them really affordable costs, and I think they should be worth more. Overrated. Like I said, the ebb and flow for me, and this is a personal taste. I'm not wildly into chrome plated plates. So Ivanko, OMCs, people go crazy for them, but I feel like they keep popping up, and they do sell for a lot, but I think the price would come down on them. I would like a pair of them, but it's not, something that I'm heavily into. I kind of like the kind of chip paint look, as weird as that sounds. Other overrated. Vintage barbells. Vintage barbells are, in my opinion, pretty overrated in general, because if you think about it, one of the most important aspects of most barbells, or at least power bars, would be the knurling.
Right. Yeah.
And the knurling is atrocious on most vintage
they're
bars.
Well, for one, they're just old bars. If they've been used for 30 years, the knurling is. There was a first generation Texas power bar that came up a little bit ago, and it was pretty recent. You probably saw it too, even. But I really thought about buying that just because. Yeah, for $300, and I actually went to it like a day later, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to tell the guy I'll buy it, and it was sold already. But at the time, I'm like, that's why I didn't, because I'm like, I know that knurling is like, people aren't going to really use this because it is going to be a subpar power bar compared to all of our nice power bars that we have. But I just kind of wanted it for the nostalgia of the first gen Texas power bar, and I might buy one of those at some point in time. I mean, that comes with the whole vintage weights in general. That's what kind of why you do it. But in the plates, I agree with what you're saying, because it is the knurling of the barbell. When it, if the knurling sucks and it's worn down, it kind of makes it like
You're
not
functionally
a great
you
bar.
are losing
Right.
out, where functionally
Right.
Yeah.
the weights are the weights. So yeah,
Exactly. Yep.
That's a good point.
It's funny because, well, you two, know the history of Texas Power Bars
Oh,
very well.
do we?
We know the history of Texas Power Bars like not many people do, actually. We kind of have it memorized. So.
I was just gonna say, if you repeat something enough, you're really gonna get it in there.
Yeah.
I think you two have affected people's knowledge of the history of Texas Power Bars in a positive way. And I'm not just being cute right now. Like, I have had more than one person be like, hey, so what's the history on this bar? Like, I know Texas Power Bars from Massenomics, but what do I need to know about this one? I'm like, well, let me tell you a little bit about whatever this diversified products barbell. So what you named actually is regarded as one of the few vintage barbells that has decent knurling.
Right.
I have a 3rd generation Texas barbell I'm working on right now in my garage. It's almost done. It's oiled and ready to go. And then I have what I think is a 1st generation Texas barbell, power bar, I should say, that I just pulled out of oxalic acid bath as well this past weekend and was working on it. And I need to take better measurements and really zone in on it. I think it is, but there's some debate about 1st generation Texas power bars. And I can tell you from the 1st and the 3rd generation, I would say that the knurling is better than a generic bar. Like if you bought like the cheapest barbell on Amazon, it's better than that. But it's not as good as even the most like budget friendly power bar.
Right.
It's not even close. And that's regarded as like one of the better vintage knurled bars. Same thing. I have a York power bar, and Big Keith and I have talked about that. That was like his dream barbell, and he was so disappointed. Big Keith was crestfallen when he finally got a York power bar because the knurling is just non-existent.
You traded some equipment or something with CT Fletcher, right? What's the story?
I did.
What's that story?
I just got off the horn with him tonight. Actually, that's who I was speaking with prior to speaking.
Well, I'm
with
glad you
gentlemen.
saved the big dogs for last.
Yeah,
year.
Yeah. Well, you're the main card. No, just kidding.
Did he let you? Did he let you know by chance if it's still your set or not? Just curious.
He did.
Okay.
He informed me and actually several of my friends. So yeah. We got down to the bottom of that. We talked about the origin of the phrase. So yeah, pretty good stuff. No, on Home Gym History, my podcast, I had him on tonight, and that'll be out in a couple weeks, but it's a really great episode. He was very gracious and told lots of cool stories. But what we did was, when I first started on Instagram, I hadn't really made many YouTube videos. For example, I hadn't shown my face yet anywhere on Instagram or on YouTube. I was like Quasimodo, like I just never appeared. I was sneaking around in the shadows. And so I would make whole YouTube videos about restoration, and you just see like my gloved hands, and I would then do like a voiceover. So then CT Fletcher reached out to me and started following me, and I won a contest by Cardillo. They give away a belt almost like every day. Like they constantly, Cardillo weight belts are giving out belts, but some of them are like really catch my eye because it's just really cool stuff I like. So I'm like, man, the CT Fletcher belt, I'll join that contest. You know how the contests work on Instagram? You put whatever, you tag a friend, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I went through a phase where I just tagged everything. I was tagging like Kmart, Walmart. I was tagging, I made friends with department stores. So I won. It worked. And I won the CT Fletcher belt. And then lo and behold, he noticed the title of my handle, Vintage Weights. And he was like, hey, I can't find this bar anywhere, this 7-foot standard bar that's knurled. And he's like, I want a knurled 7-foot standard bar. Do you have one? I said, no. And they're pretty rare. You know, most standard bars that are older, that are vintage, old school bars, end up just being not knurled. Or for a while, there are various bars like the Aristocrat line or the Deluxe. They would put like I guess it's technically knurled, but not really sleeve on it. So that's how it started. And I found the bar and sent it out to him. And then he wanted to pay me, but I told him no. And then I made a video about the experience. And that was the first time I actually showed my face in a video. And then he sent me as a thank you these rare hold tight collars that are pretty cool. That he prior to that, we had started messaging, and he like kind of took me a little video tour around like his gym and showed me some of his old weights and stuff like that. And I pointed out the hold tight collars and how much I liked them. And then he sent them to me as a thank you. So I guess technically we traded, but it wasn't set out as a trade. It was more like, I don't know, a thank you.
That's an awesome story.
That is really cool. Yeah.
So it was
really
just
cool.
really, well, I mean, I've been blessed to meet a lot of really nice people in a very short amount of time. Just because I find that people that are obsessed with weightlifting or obsessed with their strength sport, whatever it might be, are also kind of into the history of it a lot of times, or they just like talking about themselves, and I'm into hearing about their history. So, but he was the first. He was like the first person that, like, I'm not kidding, I fell off the couch. Like, my wife was next to me. We're just watching TV. The kids were finally asleep. Like, they'd come out of the room like, I don't even know how many times. And I was like, oh my God, CT Fletcher's following me. And she was like, the guy who swears a lot? I'm like, that's the one. So
that is a big deal. I mean, for anyone that's in this space, which pretty much everyone listening could relate to it on some level. I mean, that is a big deal. Like, it's, you know, that's a big deal. I had like really cool.
80 followers. Like, I don't have that many followers right now, relatively speaking. I'm not like you South Dakota millionaires over there, but I seriously had only just begun. So I couldn't believe it.
That's really cool. That is really cool.
And he's very generous with his time. And he still checks in and, drops a message or something. He's just a really nice guy.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. I mean, I grew through my lifting career. I grew up like that's, you know, when I got started into it, like in the mid 2000s or later, 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like he was he was kind of the guy. Like,
remember that first Arnold we went to, Tanner? Like the booth he had and the people lined up. It was crazy.
It was wild. Yeah, it was wild. Yeah, that's really cool. Okay, you're familiar with it. I know you're familiar with it, but in case you're not. We've got this little game we like to play. It's called Overrated, Underrated. We play it with every guest, and we've got a very special hand-curated set of Big Rob Vintage Weights PGH topics to go over. It's your job to decide if each one is overrated or underrated. You have your druthers to elaborate as much or as little as you would like. The most important rule, you just have to remember you cannot ride the line. No line riding. You have to decide if each one is overrated or underrated. So if you feel comfortable with all of that, we can jump right in.
I made some notes and I'm ready.
Okay. Overrated or underrated DeWalt tools? Not to be confused with DeWalt tools.
Yeah. I like that you pointed out the pronunciation. I don't know what Pittsburgh people call them. I need to ask my fellow Yinzers. DeWalt, I would go underrated. I'm slowly investing in DeWalt tools. I had Ryobi tools and they failed me time and time again. Just failed me. Except for my drill. I got a shout out to the Ryobi drill. The Ryobi drill is going solid. You'll see it in my videos. But other things, my circular saw, the batteries just would run out. I had an angle grinder I was trying to chop blobs with that just the batteries would run out. And everyone I would talk to would say, oh, you got to get one that's corded, or you got to spend the money and get a DeWalt. I'm like, okay. And the quality too, because it's not like I'm working like a serious job that I need those tools. Right. On the other hand, they're getting banged up and dropped and things like that. And I've had the Ryobi, a couple different Ryobi tools I have cracked the casing on them. And I don't know if a warranty's still good after a couple of years and tossing it across a garage. I don't know. So yeah, underrated. That's where I'm at. Slowly piecing together some DeWalt tools.
Where DeWalt gets you, in my opinion, it's not even the tool; it's the batteries. If you buy extra, it's like, holy cow! How are the batteries?
A lot of times, expensive? it's just cheaper to get the deal with whatever tool they have going on. It's like, okay, I'll just get batteries. 2 of the little batteries, I guess, and another drill. Why not?
Yeah, I have 3 circular saws.
Yeah. Okay, overrated or underrated? We talked about them quite a bit here, but York Globe dumbbells, overrated or underrated?
Underrated. Underrated, because the Globe dumbbell is, I think, one of the most recognizable signs of strength. Like, I just was watching a new Smurfs. I think it's a TV show. I don't want to get it wrong with my Smurf fans out there. So I was watching a new Smurfs TV show.
There's a lot of carryover between Massenomics fans and Smurf fans. So
yeah, there you go. With my children. And it was mostly annoying. I did not like it. It wasn't like Top Gun. So I was watching Smurfs, and they got me, the Smurfs, because there was this storyline about this Smurf working out, and he had globe dumbbells. And I'm like, okay, Smurfs, look at you. Your globe dumbbells.
Jack Smurf was his name.
There you go.
Strong Smurf. Yeah.
So yeah, he had globe dumbbells, and this was a new one. This is 2023 release. So where I'm going with that is just that I think people see a globe dumbbell and it's that old time strongman like association in their brain. It's like a subconscious like signal of strength. So yeah, I think underrated.
Very good. Overrated or underrated Heinz brand ketchup?
Oh man, is it a sin to go like all underrated? Because this is underrated for sure. Have you ever tried Hunt's? It's not even ketchup, it's catsup.
So
what is
Heinz
catsup?
So does Heinz taste considerably better than Hunt's?
100%. McDonald's almost lost my business single-handedly by switching away from Heinz.
Oh, did they
McDonald's
really?
ketchup.
Okay,
Yes.
Tommy, an avid Massenomics podcast listener is going to call you out on this because this is a big callback to like 2016 Massenomics podcast.
Nice.
Where our original third host Tyler was
a
adamant
ketchup
about
connoisseur.
ketchup.
Like,
Okay.
he would pick his food based off of what condiment he wanted to put on it.
Yeah,
Like, and what was his go-to? Just ketchup and ranch, basically.
ketchup I think was the most common,
And barbecue
he
sauce?
That's what he needed.
I think he'd say he'd go through like a bottle every week or two, wouldn't he?
Wow.
and
That's a lot.
Yeah, he said that Heinz was so much better than the alternative, and the thing that pissed him off the most is when McDonald's, and I remember this from
Really? He
podcast
brought that
7
up
years
too?
ago.
I remember him talking about
McDonald's
ketchup all the time.
quit. They used to have Heinz, and
Thank you.
they changed.
Wow.
And it was a big deal to him. I remember that.
We are like a penny pinching household. So we'll save condiments. We got this little like bin, this little like plastic container in our refrigerator, and we'll get takeout, and then like the extra little packet of something, salad dressing, we'll put up in there. I hope my wife doesn't listen to this. I regularly take the McDonald's ketchup packets and just throw them away. Like, I don't even want to inflict that on my children. I don't care whether it's going to save me a little bit of money. So no, it's the 57 varieties. How could you not like it? Do you guys ever see little pins? The pickle pins? I'll send you some pickle pins. There's a Heinz.
What even is that? What's
Okay, so there's a little plastic pin. It's a plastic pickle that says Heinz on it. That's like forever since Heinz existed, they would give these things out apparently, because in my childhood, in my youth, like that just constantly, that was like the free giveaway. You got yourself a little Heinz pickle pin and you put it on your book bag or something. So yeah, I mean, when I deployed, I made sure I had like a little Heinz pin on my pack, like a little sign of home kind of thing. And then I went to my extravagant hotel on the beach. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Air Force.
But, yeah, Air Force. So no, Heinz, it's part of Pittsburgh, and it's a travesty that is no longer Heinz Field either. So,
Yeah, not only did I not know what the pickle pins were, to be completely honest, I don't really know what it means by 57 what did you say? Is it variety?
Varieties. It
yeah,
says
I don't
it on
really
the
understand what
is that just like their secret number of like ingredients, or what the hell is that?
When they their big like selling point when they started out was that they had 57 different products. So they had like ketchup was one of the 57.
Heinz 57 steak sauce.
There you go.
56 steak sauce, 55 steak sauce.
I would imagine that they have more than 57 products at this point, but they're sticking with the 57 varieties slogan. Yeah. That's where that comes from.
Don't get rid of the horse that got you there.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about maybe starting a secondary like condiment history channel?
I actually, before I was posting vintage weights. I was posting sandwiches. So you're not far off.
Yeah, it's right there.
I really love sandwiches, and I have very strong opinions about sandwiches.
Okay, so
And, yeah.
I'm gonna sneak in one here on. I'm not gonna do an overrated or underrated,
right.
but
Yeah.
of the big sandwich fast food chains, can you give who would be in your top 3? They don't have to be in a particular order, but who would be in your top 3?
Well, give me an example of what you consider a big sandwich fast food chain. Do you mean like McDonald's, Burger King,
No.
Wendy's, those?
I'm
Or are
saying,
you talking like sandwiches like Jersey Mike's?
yes,
and
like things like that. Yes.
those types of
Yes.
sandwiches.
Like
Subway,
sandwiches.
Jimmy John's, Quiznos, Firehouse.
Yeah, Jersey
Alright,
what else?
Mike's, yeah,
Okay.
whatever.
Subway is much like Pizza Hut. Every once in a blue moon, it seems like a good idea, and then I'm sick the next day. And so
Yeah.
down with Subway. Like even just actually today it happened. I saw this advertisement for this like chicken bacon ranch, and I was like, that looks really good. And they have fancy names now. I should go get that. And then I was like, no, don't do it. You're gonna be sick. But
I agree with you.
so and the same
Nasty.
thing happens with Pizza Hut. That
Yeah.
really funny comedian gets me in the advertisements all the time. And I'm like, you did it again, Pizza Hut. So
I'm sick again. Yeah.
I'm sick again. So to answer your question, Jersey Mike's is pretty high up there. I enjoy Jersey Mike's for being a chain. Man, Primo Subs is a chain that I think it's regional.
Okay,
and
I've never heard of that one.
Primo Subs pretty good around here. And then another chain, actually, I'd put this number 1, DeBella's. DeBella's Subs, number 1. I'll go Jersey Mike's number 2. So yeah, DeBella's. Have you ever heard of
Never heard of
DeBella's?
DeBella's either. I had
Oh, baby.
Jersey Mike's just for the first time about 2 weeks ago,
Okay.
and I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, we have where I live in Pittsburgh in Mount Lebanon, there's Lebo Subs, and it's essentially Jersey Mike's. So they just kind of do their own thing. So I go there a lot. But DeBella's, yeah, it's something. They have this like everything bun that's kind of like an everything bagel, I think, and it's extremely good. And then they have hot and cold subs and the chocolate chip cookies. Oh my gosh. Like there's been times that I decided to only get like a 6-inch sub because I wanted to eat extra cookies. So yeah, DeBella's.
All right, got that one
Good
on the
sandwich
list.
talk. Yeah. Okay. Last overrated, underrated topic. And the last one is traditionally worth all the marbles. Everything comes down to this. A lot of pressure on the last one. So overrated or underrated, Pittsburgh toilets.
I am. I love that you found the Pittsburgh toilet. So for those that don't know, a Pittsburgh toilet is when you go down into an unfinished basement. And I've even seen finished basement Pittsburgh toilets. And there's no walls, maybe a shower curtain, but there's just a toilet.
Like basically just sitting at the edge of the room. There's a toilet there. Usually not even like a sink by it or
No,
anything. Just a toilet.
Just a toilet. There's a pipe up there. We had a toilet. It made sense at the time.
Yeah, you can't not put a
So-
toilet here.
I like to think that it caught on years ago that there was like one resourceful person that was like, well, I got an extra toilet and the bathroom's taken a lot of times. So that's the way I've always viewed the Pittsburgh toilet. And that's the way growing up that it was. And by the way, 100% underrated. And so growing up, like if I was at a friend's house, like my buddy Matt, if I'm at Matt's house, he had a Pittsburgh toilet. I would love it if this dude that I haven't talked to in 30 years was like, oh my gosh, talk about my Pittsburgh toilet. So anyway, I'm at Matt's house and let's say I'm just hanging out and oh my gosh, I gotta go to the bathroom. Where's your bathroom? Oh no, my mom's up there, man. You gotta go to the basement. I'm like, all right. And then I would even just know probably that in the basement, there's just a toilet in the corner.
Yeah.
And then you'd hear like in the stairwell, like if his sister was coming in, he'd be like, Rob's in the basement. And she would know that means like I'm down there doing my business on the toilet. But the shower curtain was pretty common. You'd see
Yeah.
that. A little modesty.
Yeah.
I was
little.
not familiar with this terminology until just tonight. Like the concept of it, I feel like I've witnessed it a few times, but I never knew it was called a Pittsburgh toilet.
Well, I have 4 kids and between the 6 of us in this house, we have 1.5 bathrooms, and they will often be both taken. And I will often think like, man, I could go for a Pittsburgh toilet right now.
Yeah.
We go a long ways right now.
Yeah.
You want to scoff at the shower curtain until you're staring at a door waiting for someone to get out of there.
Awesome. Good news. It looks like you passed overrated, underrated. So congrats. Big feather in your Pittsburgh cap.
Oh, I even wrote down like under equal good, over equal bad, so I wouldn't screw it up.
Well, we're glad you took it seriously.
Yeah,
I did. Let's see if I can get this on there. There you go. And then I even put ride the line. Don't do it.
Nope. Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. You man that gets the rules. No, this has been really good. I think people are going to enjoy it. Where do people find? Well, what's the YouTube channel and also the podcast? Where do people check out the podcast? Everyone's going to want to listen to the CT Fletcher episode now for
there
sure.
You go.
So perfect timing to get on here and talk about that.
Yeah. The next one to drop is actually Jen Thompson. You've had her on Massenomics.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's awesome.
She was awesome. We talked all about women lifting their husbands over their heads and what she's been able to do over the years. So it was really cool. So let's start with Vintage Weights PGH, not PGH, PGH. And Vintage Weights PGH is my handle on Instagram, on YouTube, and you can find everything on vintageweightspgh.com. As far as the podcast, that's produced by Garage Gym Radio. You recently had Jake on the podcast here from Garage Gym Experiment. Well, he started a podcast network, Garage Gym Radio, and he came to me and said, hey, you want to talk about history? And I said, yes, I do. So yeah, you can find Home Gym History on Garage Gym Radio, which is available on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. And of course, I share it on my other accounts and things. So yeah, I got Jen Thompson coming up, and then CT Fletcher after that, and I'm not revealing any other guests.
Ooh, top secret. That's just the way we like it.
Mm-hmm. Just like Maverick.
Gotta keep them guessing.
That's right.
All right. Awesome. Well, thanks, Rob. We appreciate it. This was fun.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Rob.
Hey, I started out just wanting to get free stickers, and here I am, I guess, on Massenomics.
It all comes full circle. Now you're
pinnacle.
Your last job is to find me those 6 9s and 80s through 100s.
I'm not kidding. I actually have a note saved in my phone that says Tanner's dumbbells.
Yeah.
And so I've got it, man.
All right.
I will alert you if I see any.
All right. Awesome.
Hey, I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Oh, you really kicked him off quick there.
I'm getting ready. I'm getting rid of that awkward stage at the end. I have my finger hovering over the button.
We got anything to give him? Any?
Do we ever?
Cool beans. Cool.
It's one of those 57 products, I think.
Cool beans.
Number like 40,
that was 2 of the 57.
Number 42 was Cool Beans.
Number 43 also the second serving of Cool Beans. Vintage weights. A lot of good vintage weights talk from Big Rob.
Yeah, wow. I'm just I know that there's just subcultures everywhere that exist for this stuff, or for any little thing you could be into. And you're obviously way more aware of this than me because you're living.
And I'm barely aware of it compared to like him.
But man, that rabbit hole goes deep, doesn't it?
It is a deep rabbit hole. He can get into stuff that I'm like, yeah, I guess I've heard of those brands before,
that's like he's talking about these things and I'm typing them in and it's like, yeah, I think when we talked to Efren and like he had that book, I think I remember seeing some of these, but it's all just honestly, to me, it just starts to turn into names and plates. I can't remember them all,
Right. Good stuff though.
Yeah, it is. It's super interesting for sure.
You know what else is interesting about this episode, Tommy?
What's that?
It's brought to everyone, really, not just to you, but it's brought to everyone by our good friends over at Juggernaut AI. Juggernaut Training Systems is the leader in strength, having helped thousands, I'm going to even say millions, bajillions of athletes
100 million billion.
All the way from beginners to world champs maximize their results and reach their goals. They deliver principle-based coaching through cutting-edge technology. That cutting-edge technology is the Juggernaut AI app. It's what we use to train with, what a whole bunch of the Massenomics crew uses to train with. It's what a whole bunch of members at Massenomics Gym use to train with. It's what a whole bunch of lifters of the Lift Hard, Live Easy Classic powerlifting meet coming up in Western Northeast South Dakota. It's what they all train with. They're also a sponsor of that event coming up here in July. It's Juggernaut AI. We use it. We stand by it. You can use it too, and you can use it with discount code Massenomics. Head over to juggernautai.app. Make sure to log in through the website. When you think about getting signed up, don't go through the app. When you go through the website, that's where you can use our discounts code and save 10% for the lifetime of that membership. Thank you, Juggernaut AI.
And a very timely sponsor here, Texas Power Bars. Buddy Caps first started lifting weights in the late 60s and began powerlifting in the mid-70s. At the time, he was working for Image Barbell, building gym equipment. Around 1976, a local machine shop started making Olympic bars for them, calling it the Image Bar. In 1977, Image Barbell became Champion Barbell. It was then that Buddy started looking at the bars with an intent of changing them for the better. In 1979, Buddy bought his first lathe to begin addressing the known issues. In 1980, his passion, drive, and purpose now had a greater mission. Buddy set out on his own to make what he believed was the greatest bar he had ever seen and trained with, and the Texas Power Bar was born. It was strong as a house with the best knurling and was maintenance-free. Hundreds of state, national, international, and world powerlifting records have been and continue to be set and broken on the Texas Power Bar. To learn more about Texas Power Bars and buy one of their legendary bars, visit texaspowerbars.com.
Thanks, TPB. Tommy, should we bring this one in for a landing?
I think we probably should.
Let's land this Air Force jet.
Let's stop being inverted and just land this thing.
I was inverted. Because he was inverted. Because Rob was inverted on Vintage Weights.
He was on his inversion table.
Yes. Make sure to head over to Massenomics. Check out all of our merch that we've got for sale. We've still got some meat competition tees, deadlift socks, headbands, and check out the Massenomics podcast tee. That'd be a recommendation. It comes in red. It really pops, and it celebrates our 7 years of podcasting, over 7 years here at Massenomics. So if you haven't seen the Massenomics podcast tee and you're a listener of the Massenomics podcast, I think it's the shirt for you. Sign up to become a supporting member. Make sure you're subscribing on YouTube to check out our new videos every week. This one ties in great with the vintage weight talk. Tommy, where do they find you at?
You can find me at Tomahawk_D.
You can follow me at Tanner_Baird, but just make sure to follow Massenomics at Massenomics.
See ya.